start by thanking you for coming so promptly and in your numbers. And on behalf of the Secretary General and the party leader, and on behalf of the National Executive, we want to wish the Gambian media fraternity a very productive and prosperous 2022. We thank you for joining us all the time when we call you to discuss matters of importance to the UDP and to the nation. I am very pleased to say that this is a first of its kind press conference. We have been quiet for the last 2 months. Today, the Secretary General will have the opportunity to tell all our compatriots the reasons why we thought it necessary to reject the election results of 4th December 2021, the reasons why we went to court, and other pertinent matters affecting the politics of the Gambia and the United Democratic Party. But before the party leader gets into this special press conference, he has a few issues, urgent and very pertinent issues that he would want to discuss with Gambians. Again, thank you very much for coming, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tell, for that succinct, brief, and very relevant introduction. I want to say to the members of the media fraternity, a happy and prosperous new year to all of you. The new year is still young, so we can still wish each other a happy new year. And I hope that this year will be a year that the media practitioners will remember as one that's advanced their cause, as the year in which their aspirations for most of the things have been achieved, that freedom of the press, freedom of the media will not just be in theory, but it will also be in practice, and that the Access to Information Act that has been passed will be fully utilized by the media, and that there will be no obstacles in them trying to access any information. I thank you all for coming, and the matters that have been referred to by Mr. Tal are matters of national, I would not say concern. Well, one may be of national concern, but the other one certainly is not a national concern, but it's of great national interest, and is one that the whole nation should really be united about. I want to first commiserate with our compatriots in the Fonies who have been displaced by incursions into their areas as a result of incidents between security forces, whether they are under the command of the Senegalese or the command of the ECOMIG, it doesn't matter, security forces, and the rebel groups, virtually trying to turn the Gambia into their theater of war, resulting in the displacement of residents in the surrounding villages in that area. We share the stresses, the inconvenience that our compatriots are going through as a result of their displacement. I understand that the Red Cross Society is stepping in to give the necessary humanitarian aid and assistance that is required. So I want to use this opportunity to appeal to everyone, every Gambian, that we should also assist our compatriots from 1 kilo of rice to 20 bags, whatever, from 1 cup of oil to 20 gallons of cooking oil. And that, I appeal that we should really make these donations to our compatriots through the Red Cross, that each and every one of us who can, please, let us help our compatriots, go to the Red Cross and give whatever we have to assist our compatriots. And in the same vein, I'm asking both the governments of Gambia and Senegal to really take the necessary measures so that our compatriots can go back to their villages, live there without being fearful of any incursions, free from intimidation, and they can live there comfortably and sleep at night without really fearing that anything untoward will happen and affect their safety. I appeal to government of Gambia and to the government of Senegal, really, to take immediate measures. This is not politics, and it cannot be politics. No one is politicizing. No one is politicizing this matter. We are all concerned that an event of this nature, an issue of this nature, if it happens, Gambians must speak to it. And we are speaking to it as two Gambians concerned about the fate and plight of our compatriots, concerned about our territorial integrity. That is why we are doing so. Not only our territorial integrity, but also our sovereignty. That's what we are concerned about. And this certainly gives an opportunity to every well-meaning Gambian to really come step forward and help our people and come up with any suggestions that would help assuage the situation and ensure that no such incident occurs again on the territory of the Gambia. Having said that, also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Scorpions, the Buntalols, the Jeet. I want to congratulate them for their sterling performance. This is the first time that the Gambia has gone to that level in international competitions in football. This shows that our young men are growing in the football, and all they need is support, both morally and materially. And every Gambian should really make it his duty to give them the maximum encouragement, at least if by no other means, but morally. I understand they'll be returning sometime today. We are not sure when, whether it will be today or tomorrow. But whatever day they return to home, I want to ask every Gambian, if you cannot go to the airport, line the streets with the Gambian flag in your hands and congratulate these young men for putting Gambia on the map on the footballing map of the world. We congratulate all of them. Now, of course, gentlemen of the press, it is common knowledge that on the 4th of December 2021, Gambians went to the polls to elect a president that should be put in charge of the affairs of the state of the Gambia for the next 5 years. The election results were announced on the 5th of December, and then the then incumbent, Adama Barrow, was declared president-elect by the Independent Electoral Commission. We did not believe that the elections were conducted in a manner that was in accord with the law, or at least aspects of it were not carried out in manner that accords with the law. As a result, we mounted investigations and our investigation revealed not what you would call anomalies, but what would clearly be regarded as malpractices. Because anomalies can really not affect the elections unless they are too serious. But in this instance, we discovered a great deal of malpractices during the campaign and before the campaign. Because of our discovery, we decided that we would go to court and challenge the election of President Adama Barrow on grounds that on grounds that the law recognizes. Our complaint, or what we submitted to the court for determination, was that President Adama Barrow's election was invalid by reason of corrupt practices. 2, Adama Barrow was not duly elected or returned, and his election is otherwise invalid. 3, the votes cast in favor of President Adama Barrow in all regions are void by reason of corrupt and illegal practices. 4, the election is otherwise invalid by reason of non-compliance with which affected the result result in favor of Adama Barrow. The election is otherwise invalid by reason of non-compliance with the Constitution and all applicable laws. These were the issues we presented to the court for determination, based, of course, on facts. We deposited in court documentary evidence, and this documentary evidence would include videos, and we had over 2,000 pages of evidence that we deposited in court. However, the Supreme Court decided that our petition, or let me say the petition, should not proceed because of non-compliance with Rule 11 of the elections petition rules. I didn't say our petition, I said no, let me say the petition. Because when it's a petition, probably people will think that this is UDP's, this was UDP. All the matters enumerated here, if the court had heard the evidence and ruled in favor of the petition of the United Democratic Party, it would be any other person, including those who contested in the last presidential election, who would again want to run in the by-election. So they would all have been given the opportunity, so it's not UDP. If you had asked that the UDP's candidate should be declared elected, then that would make it a UDP petition. But this was a petition meant really to regularize the playing field so that anybody who took part in that election could really take part in it again in a by-election if he so wants. Or those who did not take part, yet they want to take part, they could do so. So I say this because every time I hear UDP's petition, UDP call a petition, it's not UDP call this petition for the people of the Gambia, championed by UDP as we have always done. Now, as I said, the Supreme Court rejected it on the ground that they are non-compliance with Rule 11 of the election petition rules. We availed ourselves of the right given to us by the Constitution and by the rules of the Supreme Court to apply for leave to review the judgment or the ruling. Again, that application was rejected by the Supreme Court. And that was the only court that we could go to. United Democratic Party strongly feels that our right to have access to justice, that we were denied the opportunity to present a case, that our grouse, our complaints was never heard. And again, so that those who go about to say that UDP's petition was dismissed, they are wrong because it was never dismissed. In fact, it was struck out. So that misstatement, sometimes coming from the media, is inaccurate. Our case was never heard. Whether we were right or we are wrong, it was never heard. So we were denied the opportunity to present a case to the court. And during this, if we are given the opportunity, the Gambian people would know the strength of our complaints. They would know why we are in court. Having failed to be given the opportunity by the Supreme Court to be heard, the National Executive accordingly met and said, well, the options now open to us is to tell the Gambian people what we wanted to tell them in court. And that is what we are now doing. There have been several instances of corrupt practices that are prohibited by Section 116 of the Elections Act. And we have it that the slightest evidence of corrupt practice, just one single act of corrupt practice, invalidates an election. But we are presenting to you, the members of the press, at least not less than 20 incidents of corrupt practices committed by Adama Barrow or by his agents to his knowledge, with his knowledge, and by or by his spouse with his knowledge. And all these corrupt practices took place during the campaign period. And we have not mentioned anything about what might have been done in July, because that could not properly be regarded as corrupt practice as far as the Elections Act are concerned. But then whatever took place during the corrupt practices and whatever took place during the campaign period and is done in order to influence the electorates to vote amounts to corrupt practices. Now, as I said, there are at least 20, it's not limited to 20, but there are at least 20 incidents of corrupt practices. And I will now run you through them. I'll give 3 of them which are cash given. On the 9th of November, the president gave the sum of $1 million to Musa Drame to take to the villagers of Munyagen in purported assistance to help build their health center. The promise had been given in Kuntaya the previous day when the people of Munyagen it was in Kuntaya the previous day when he made promise to the people of Munyagen that he would give them money towards the construction of their health center. And on the 9th, this money was delivered by Musa Drame, the governor, the CFO, and some other NPP officials. And at that gathering in Munyagen, the emissary, Musa Drame, told the people that the president has fulfilled his promise of giving assistance for the construction of their health center and gave them $1 million, and Alcalo and other villagers responded that appreciate very much what the president has done, and that the only way that their appreciation should be done, in fact, Musa Drame asked them that the only way that you can show your appreciation to the president for this handsome generation is to make sure that his ballot box is filled with ballot tokens. And that promise the villagers did make. And that promise the villagers did actualize on the voting day by ensuring that they voted for President Adama Barrow. You cannot have any act of corrupt practice than that. But during the same campaign period, the president went to Sutukung, where he had a rally, and at the end of that rally, he decided that he would go to Barokunda to make a courtesy call on the Grand Marabout and the villagers of Barokunda. In the course of interaction with them, he asked someone to bring money from the vehicle, and $100,000 was brought in, and the president gave it to a Mr. Bayo, one of the villagers, and with these words, "Nata ngamfang karafalma, katafayo binakang. Ngamfang karafalma, alla kurusong lo munyinti." And these are all on video, gentlemen. These statements that I'm making, they're all on video. At the end of the day, all these incidents, you will have the videos or the photographs. That of Musa Drame is in pictures. You'll have it, and the others, they are on videos. You'll have the videos given to you. I think we'll arrange for people to send this to you through, how do you call it? Is this soft copy? What? How do you call it? Huh?
Electronic.
Electronically, because it will not be possible. We can, but it will take us the whole day if you want to show each episode, each incident, if you want to show the video here. Now, that is what happened in Barokunda, and $100,000 is given. And in Kitty, also, a total sum of $45,000 was given to the youths, and these were in three tranches. First, a $10,000, the second, $10,000, a third, $25,000. And the first one of $10,000 here was given to the youths with a ram, and the $25,000 was given with a bull. All by Ahmed Jite, and you all know that Ahmed Jite is one of the agents of President Barrow, and he gave it to the youths that he wants them to vote for President Barrow, and indeed, he comes from Kitty, and if President Barrow were to win, if they assist him and President Barrow wins, that would give him also an opportunity of being appointed a minister by President Barrow, and then he can do a lot of things for the people of Kitty. I don't know if this is not corrupt practice. What can be qualified as corrupt practice? Now, in November of 2021, the the communities of Bassetti Junction received milling machines from Lady Fatou Barrow and which at which ceremony Dalkalu was introduced as a member of the NPP. And this donation of a milling machine was also done so that the people of, or the residents of Bassetti Junction could really vote for NPP and their candidate, Adama Barrow. And on 30th November at Sandu Misra, also, we have video which shows that the president's political advisor, Siaka Jatta, and some NPP officials were distributing milling machines. And one, can we please have it? And one of the villages in the URR where milling machine was given was Sandu Misra. And not only was milling machine given to them, but Siaka Jatta also made a promise that the people of Sandu Misra will get a tractor. And the only thing that could prevent them from not getting a tractor is if President Adama Barrow is not elected. And the response of the people of Misra is that we are going to vote for President Barrow. We have seen the milling machine, and we're going to vote. We know that, so that we can have a tractor. Now, again, on the 30th of November, a milling machine was distributed in Kumbija by Siaka Jatta and Bubu Drame. And it was also during the campaign period, and it was for no other reason than to get the NPP, to get the NPP's candidate elected as president of this country. Between the 26th and 2nd of December, Siaka Jatta delivered a tractor to people in Taibatu, in Taibatu, in Upper River region. And when he did so, he told them, we shouldn't trick each other. We shouldn't trick each other. And we need to accept that the peace and development in this country is due to Adama Barrow. And we can only thank him we can only show him our gratitude by voting for him in December 4th elections. This was when milling machine was given to the people of Taibatu. And on 2nd December, just 2 days before the vote, Pierre Ba, the chief of Nyani, and Siaka Jatta went to Kuntauru. And at Kuntauru, they told them that, I'm quoting, if the people of Kuntauru vote for PPP, vote for NPP, it will be known because Kuntauru is designated as a polling center for only the village of Kuntauru. That only Kuntauru will vote, residents of Kuntauru will vote at that polling station. You know? And he wants NPP to lead UDP by at least 200 votes. Then he thanked them, and Mr. Pierre Ba for the great work he had been doing. And then you can notice it. You can notice it. Nobody of the chief because of his weight, because of his lost weight. Now, and at Kuntaur also, milling machine was given to the people, and in fact, what was most striking about it is that that was supposed to be a Gambia government project, but they had stamped on it NPP with the NPP logo, the horse. They had it embroidered on that. A video taken on the 30th of December shows that in Woolly Brief in Basse, a milling machine was also donated, or at least given, by the regional chairman, Mr. Bubudrame, and Mr. Siakajata to the residents of Woolly Brief. And on 27th November, you have video recordings of Fabu Sane showing that he was distributing milling machine in Kiang, Jurakunda. And after the handing over of the milling machine, he said, was to the effect, if someone gives you breakfast and lunch, be rest assured he will give you dinner when he wins. So if that same individual asks you for another 5 years, compared to the same person who has given mere promises, that is the opposition, and the NPP who is already giving you, whom will you choose? Look, we have come here, we've given you milling machines. And of course, you cannot compare us with those people who only come here and give you promises. So you must elect President Adama Barrow, and this is an incentive for you to elect him because he has given you breakfast, he has given you lunch, so dinner is certainly assured. This is also on video. And on the 3rd of December, this some that captured on WhatsApp in Jimara, Saranjobo, Sehumbalo was seen there. This was on Friday, and he brought machine to them because these are people of Saranjobo speaking on WhatsApp. That on the 3rd of December, a day that was supposed to be a cooling day, no campaigns. Kumbalo went there and delivered milling machine to the people of Sarajevo, and all because he wants them to vote for President Adama Barrow. On 11th November, I believe this was even on national news. We all know one, probably have heard about Ajinde Njai, the UGDC women leader in Farafenye, who was corrupted, given money, and promised that she'll be given a ticket to go to the Hajj. And because of that, she switched her allegiance from GDC to NPP, and she promised that she was mobilizing all the people in her community, all people who belong to her group, mobilizing them all to join the NPP and vote for President Adama Barrow. And she promised that she will deliver that part of Farafenye to President Adama Barrow, and she did so because she was corrupted. I'm sure if we watch ton of events around the Tobaski time, you'll probably hear that this woman has been sent to Mecca by President Adama Barrow. Again, that's an act of that's an act of corrupt practice. We all know Chief Yaya Jajusi. He has always been a propaganda mouthpiece for government. We all know how much discomfort. We all know how this man used his office to terrorize UDP supporters in LRR, but in Jara West in particular, during Yahya Jammeh's time. We all know how this man campaigned vigorously that Adama Barrow should not be elected as president in 2016. That's a common knowledge. He did everything to stop Adama Barrow being elected. Now he again switched camp and now stood by Adama Barrow, said that no other person will be elected president of this country other than Adama Barrow. I think these are people who do not know what decency means in life, who do not know what principles mean in life. After Yahya Jammeh had done everything for him, after Yahya Jammeh had pampered him in every way, he turns against Yahya Jammeh and now supports Barrow. But then, not only that, he engages in corrupt practices in the name, to the knowledge, and on behalf of Adama Barrow. He did so when he distributed cooking pots, cooking utensils, so forth, to women's group in Jara West. And he told them that these items are given to me by President Barrow to be given to groups within my circle. And we will start wondering, why would this have been done during election campaign period? 6 months before, this was not done. The milling machines, none was given to these villagers 6 months before the elections. Why during the election period? These were, some kind of inducements which was meant to really get their votes in violation of Section 116 of the Elections Act. It's an outright corrupt practice that we wanted to present to the court, and the court refused to hear us. And of course, on the 1st of December rather, the governor of Central River Region, Mr. Abba Sanyang, with Siaka Jata, we are seen on a video in CRR where Mr. Sanyang said, we have this belief that the reason you brought all these voters' cards and showed that you will vote for Adama Barrow. And then, of course, both Siaka Jata and Abasanya gave donations to the people of CRR and urge them that they should vote for NPP. In fact, the presentation that was done, Siaka was on the video saying, well, I'm happy that my own people, my own relations from Lamenkoto are here. And this gives me great hope that in these coming elections, all of you are going to vote for President Adama Barrow. In fact, what we have just been brought to you is just a tip of the iceberg. More materials will be brought to you for your use. But the only way that you can be assured of receiving those materials in future is when you cast your vote for President Adama Barrow. You know? And there are several other incidents of corrupt practices in various parts of the country. URR in particular, and in the Nyaminas, in Fladu, all these were documented and indeed presented in evidence form to the Supreme Court of the Gambia, which they have rejected, or not rejected, which they refused to hear. Now, we, on the advice of National Executive, we thought that some of these incidents of corrupt practices should be brought or exposed to the public so that the public knows that we did not go to court because we are litigious. We didn't go to court because we just wanted to go to court. We went to court because we had substance. We went to court because we had hard evidence. And these are captured in videos. NPP officials speaking to their crimes. And I say speaking to their crimes, that is their violations of the Section 116 of the Elections Act by donating or giving gifts all for the people in the areas to vote for President Adama Barrow. And we hope that this message will go out and the Gambian people will know that these are some of the reasons why we went to court, corrupt practices. There are other reasons bordering on electoral malpractices. There are other reasons showing how the IEC has carried out registration even at the close of registration in certain centers. Combo South, those evidence we have, and we will release those to you, the members of the press, at the most appropriate time. But for now, this is what we want to share with you, and it's not exhaustive because it is can have about 2,000 pages, cannot just be this summary, but this is just a summary of what we have. There's more of this. If you had been heard, that would have benefited the Gambia. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Had the Secretary General, the party leader, lay out in some detail some of the evidence, some of the facts that took us to the Supreme Court of the Gambia. Often when we are discussing national issues, some of our rivals, some of the critics, forget that we are within a transition context. It was only in 2016 that we end dictatorship in the Gambia. The work that was supposed to be we should have done over these 5 years included law reforms, comprehensive law reforms, including the rules of court, so that the tools and the handiwork of the dictator will not defeat the ends of justice. We have seen that a new constitution has been put aside. We have seen that commissions of inquiries, most recently the TRRC, have completed their work, and all of these things could not have been implemented, could not have been effected because we did not have comprehensive law reforms. We have a case, a very solid case. We took it to the Supreme Court, but because of procedural niceties, the case was not heard. So we believe this is an opportunity for the Gambians to understand that if you want to have the rule of law, if you want people to respect the rule of law, the laws themselves must give you justice. Because going to courtrooms and finding laws that are not in their substance giving you justice is the problem that this country has to deal with. And without law reform, we know that all the cases that will be going there challenging the political status quo will meet the same fate. So on that note, I would just want to emphasize that the party leader has allowed us to have a preview of these facts. We expect the journalists to verify, to confirm, to check all of these information, and thereafter report objectively on the proceedings here and the quality of evidence we have given you. We will have a few questions for the party leader and for the executive of the UDP. Then we will invite you again at an opportune time to lay even more evidence before you. We don't want to bombard you with all the evidence now. Otherwise, you may not be able to do your fact-finding and fact-checking and cross-checking of facts as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So we will take a few questions and then we will call this press conference. The first in the series go over. So questions for the party leader. Yes, sir. Please identify your media and who you are. Thank you.
I would like to ask in the local language.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. We can ask in all our languages. I mean, not local languages. I have always had issues with this. Anybody who feels comfortable speaking any of our languages, I'm sure we will be able to answer your question.
Second one moment, yamirata late la pour kaje ko ka evidence on case samana in series. Yamira modolte jahal la bang ya foko manan na nyule nyulu muta ya be samanyo court, but why it might be published at the same time?
Well, the question follow UDP member tala mutare UDP bulu. Ama hiyo alifokodi. Well, mbenya ndasona nyina kavoko political parties iki londile pour election odo ye contest ni election so sita. Ade kake nyindalilo le kama kavoko mbe contest la pour si gagner. But ni manganya umanyan kanya kavoko ye withdraw completely. Odo natra femfe yalon kavoko itata political kon letal political party ali alon le dalila senu le kan ado ali alon le pour banko la nafa le kan pour kado ko ke banko e ela election luso manya na ken la ya ko be murula ko ni o ke doron woto mol balon al kavoko mol nyanta lon al kavoko ite ku kote ne yete dundi political to kabri mo soto no doron I withdraw ta ado UDP do me UDP do political ko no Gambia te damanta man Gambia je Gambia me alon ka ko ay me yen sula nenete murula ko koma ado mari fanando ila banko ni kado kunole wayatara imantra masakunda kono kado ko kakumol mel fa kakumol mel itande masakundala ya o kaken le masakunda nyanta ko dol mel kala isike no Fransa nyim press conference na kuma semenna nyim na badil mebe fonyi wo banko da dalon ti adu mantra government to mari kulo me yalon ka ko manza kunda nyata yemirala ko nyanta nga nyinni nyinke pour problème membe na nyin ladote dimba me bijoton safa but mantra government adum me political party ti o sifa italo koleke and mo kunklina libesa kenole so UDP be mento wolom ko kabrin kunum be mento comme na patio ba taman lale election nata fanando ba contest lale do adu wamu include ni député kat fayo membi na kanten ko mbetar la ka ko mbetar la to le ngajele la dolto presidential candidate ka boy ba nita national assembly elections nyol to ila patiolo ida ine kanyang wala fana sembe ba so député bon kono ado nin député bon lo nin sonta kafoko député bonyi tarta karakilin damana oto bankoni atitala nyame wala ya nambe continuer lale na politiko la be continuer lale ka mo londi nyin kata fa nala pour ngajo ko député bon me yaron kafoko atele kan jam bambanta bake executive ti ay lo kadko executive député bunka executive bondi no bar executive buka député bun bondi no député bun ka fa executive ni luanye ita londi lo lafta ni luwala ya londi so asembo warta bake wadula nak mbajal ka fa ko ngata jeto ngana mon londi pour sije soto no elok fula nyama na moni at nam nyimba fondi na peace bill même ko de satka ko ni ajur ma mol kan e buka jube no ka mbenyi na mutara ba fambe ni na mutara wodo ngake killing aleni koro practice nyola ali ajube ko ngam memfo video nyilo be sen na liele by electronic means albe videos nyol jela albana talo jala be mol la kuma kan moyla kaji be fonga kuma memfo ta fato nyaata fa man to nyaaya ni aja ngabe di ko la si nyakile kadu ko la fonko lo ngoti itata evidence ka foko benyine nat la sai ngamuru hata do nali e ka be le samba si nyakile ya be deposit to but press conference na ita member press conference na taba ka foko lafta ka nyiki baro de di wadi ko don ale na be nyiki baro di la wala ya na mabe ka si nyakile.
Okay, I'm from Benjamin Karo Kilamani Kakamala, Honeybee Damanga, Janjanding, Okay, my name is Howard Suso and I work for King FM. Honeybee Dorong Angajele Kuabe Janjanding Internet to go the United Democratic Party, about preparation okay towards the upcoming National Assembly election. Actual last time Munati, Ali Jiko Sutoloko, winning election of Mukana, Albanian to Dominic.
Well, medun kan kata fawala kono ninjiko jikta kafoko besi ala jeto mole jiko soto wala yatinna be contest la adu be contest la nala kitala kata fay banko kan nala kitala be contest la jeto so bareta wala adu mbole fanankela.
My name is Fatou from Korea newspaper. I have two questions for you. My first question is, what is the state of UDP and GFA and others? Is it intact? And my second question is, will UDP be contesting all the 53 seats in the upcoming National Assembly election?
The first question, UDP and GFA, we were not in a coalition. There was no coalition arrangement. There was no alliance arrangement. They endorsed the candidature of UDP. And that endorsement was for the presidential elections. In fact, they said we endorsed the UDP's candidate for the presidential election. So if anything is to happen again, that could be a matter of discussion, but we did not have any coalition that one would say has broken down. I mean, there was endorsement, and the endorsement was for the presidential election, and the presidential election is gone and over, so we do not see that GFA is in any way bonded in any way with UDP, and so is the same for Madam Marisol Jobate. Now, the question whether we're going to contest the 53 constituencies, that is our plan. That is our plan. We want to contest for the 53 constituencies. And why shouldn't we contest for the 53 constituencies? I see that it's the ladies who are dominating this.
Jadong CDB kanilati kadu koke diekire nyona. Isada wala seni kala mena bari affiliating albesedi ni jaro findi de kan jamai. Adum affiliating dibite quartier fo ni kana. UDP dom lel fere kenola. Wala mulebe UDP bulu kaje ko NPP ferol mi yalla ko yo lege kuda quartier fayo gani akana affiliating bari affiliating albesedi jaro findi de kan membe ni ila masimo tiola. Sa mule fere betara de kaje ko National Assembly election only, it cannot go for UDP be gagné la ñam.
Raga Mr. Kanyen, ila jabiro kuma atabake, ba ito jabiro sot la jato de. Na fiero momenti, ndo fala moy, ni membe kelela. Monya na mbene fiero fala ka fa kombe kelela tende. Kuma atabake ban ka fala jato. Del dammal ben na exemple le ba fa ngala den ngana ko ngeta man.
This side, please.
Yes. Assalamualaikum. My name is Ramin El Sayan. I report to Better Bishop Products. For the truth to be known, it should be heard. And you said that the Supreme Court refused to hear your case. And as we said, it's like due to some procedural nicety. I would want you to elaborate more on that. Now, why do you think the Supreme Court refused to hear your case?
In my introduction, I said when we presented our petition, the Supreme Court struck it out on an application by Adamabaro's lawyers that there was no notice of the presentation of the petition, and that also the issue of cost, security for cost, was not served according to Rule 11 of the elections petition rules. That was their reason for striking it out and refusing to hear our case. We have disagreed with that because in the first place, the petition was served on the president through the chief of protocol, and the Supreme Court found that that was good service. Now, on the issue of the cost, we served his lawyer. And according to the Supreme Court rules, the party includes the party's lawyer. So if you serve a party's lawyer, you have served the party himself. And we served his lawyer, Mr. C. Imene. And there was an affidavit showing, attaching, the fulfillment of the security. And of course, you serve, issues of security because you want to give the other party maybe an opportunity to look into the sufficiency of the security that you may be provided. But our security was determined by the Supreme Court. We applied, and the Supreme Court said you have to provide security in the sum of $300,000. We provided it and gave notice that we have provided the security of $300,000. There was no rejection or no contention by the other party that your security of $300,000 is insufficient. So it should be reviewed. There was no such thing. So it was just on a mere technicality. Because already, what is the essence of the notice? The essence is for you to know that an action has been brought against you. They know that action has been brought against them because they were served. And it was because of the fact that they know that an action was brought against themselves, that is why he was able to hire a lawyer to go and represent him in court. If he did not know of the pendency of the action, no lawyer would have been hired. So it was a mere technicality. In my first statement on this, I said, well, the Supreme Court has sacrificed justice on the altar of technicalities. And this is a court I know because I have practiced before the court several times. It's a court that does not give weight to technicality. It always says that we want to achieve substantial justice. And here, substantial justice would have been achieved if we had gone into trial. They look at the merits of our complaint. They know you make this allegation of cooking pots. You know, there is no evidence. We do not believe that evidence. But how can you refuse to believe the evidence when you have the video? Fabu Jata, Fabu Sanarada, the milling machine was given in Kiang, Vilapunda. It's in video. How can anybody disbelieve that? All these things that we are saying, they are all in video. As I said, we are sending this electronic to all of you, and you'll see them. So if we were given the opportunity to go to trial, justice would have been done. And then it would be left for the Supreme Court to decide whether those acts amounted to corrupt practices or not corrupt practices. If they decide that it doesn't amount to corrupt practices, we will decide, well, okay, the Supreme Court has heard us and has allowed us to give our evidence, but they do not agree that this amounts to corrupt practices. That would have been justice. Yeah. So, again, as Mr. Stahl has said, maybe these things need to review, but that's not the position of the court. The court is not saying that these laws need to be reviewed. What the court is that lawyers should pay attention to these rules. Yeah.
Yes. So in other words, you're saying there is a weakness on the side of the judicial system for not letting you present your case.
Well, I'm not sure whether it's a weakness, but I say that it is really, for me, it is really devaluing justice. That you are not putting premium on justice. You are putting premium on technicality. I'm not sure. I don't think it's. I cannot say that it was weakness.
Yes, at the middle of the house.
You have your ladies over.
Come on, wait.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mama Ejuru from the Voice newspaper. My question, Mr. Dawa, is if UDP was in power, what are the mechanisms or what are the mechanisms that you're going to put in place to make sure the phony incident is not repeated? And how are you going to put what are you going to do? How are you going to implement those things? My second question is, you said that you are planning to contest for the consequences. Now, do you believe in the eligibility of the Independent Electoral Commission?
Let's say the phony incident, if I were in office, would not arise because we'll address the root problem of it. That is the illicit timber trade. And we would have taken before now steps to ensure that no illicit timber comes from southern Senegal to the Gambia to any part of the world. And of course, that will be a reason why the Senegalese security will not intervene on the Gambian territory in these matters. But more important than that is that we would make sure that the mandate of whether Senegalese troops or economic troops will make sure that their mandates are quite clearly spelled out. That whatever takes place in the Gambian territory will be for the Gambian security officers. Of course, that does not rule out, or that will not rule out the fact that there would be cooperation between the Gambian security and these other security outfits. But it will be the Gambian security that will be completely in charge of whatever takes place in our territory. What takes place in other places cannot be our concern. So that's certainly that would be a way that one of the ways that we will deal with it. Now, as to the I'm sure you mean is eligibility. I'm sure you mean fairness. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. Well, you know what we have now is the IEC as it's constituted, and we just have to live with that until better times. When I present the next pieces of evidence on the electoral malpractices, then people will start questioning themselves whether this is the IEC that we should have. Yeah? But for now, this is the IEC that we have, and it is the institution that we have to work with. And of course, maybe when they hear some of the revelations that we'll be making, maybe some of them might consider resigning to say that I cannot continue to work in this institution under these circumstances, maybe. But as they say, what cannot be enjoyed must be enjoyed. I think that's what they say. Yeah? So we'll just have to go on with elections with them. I'm not pronouncing on their fairness or their lack of fairness. I don't want to make any pronouncement on that. There's that lady there.
Bakari Kamara ba official, Ekidabo, ni personal ni anata etelea. Wolom kabo ila kore olnoma, mele aloko inidenta ila patiola ne. Ikanyi miro sono wate ndina, ning itada fo ila winota ya tumi blokono, itaka fili laringe, ikata. Iko fo wato mansi yete bula, itawo kamana ya dila, itilia mira nyame. Ko yajele ni na tay kamfare e ka don kilo lay e ka buru fo bunya ni fala do advantage le take kamba wayatina e man sultana kata ila wino ni kamara ngajile 2002 or 2001 men kete no election oto 2002 ayatina imam mo londi because of grounds of binu nyame muni 2002 londi palia and this year yawakili mune ye fata obe kuma la pour conseiller.
Hello. Give me the mic. Well, mamira nganko di yamyam fo binola mamira nganko di ala no be bultani fulo la nyoka fa exactive be bultani fulo la nyoka non ite fem fala bare ni wucho suti ada nyawnya tilitan wucho kono nganyem mem foten mol mem foten ani bina mem fa tilitan wucho kono lo mo wo investigation oketa ka nentil tan tambitan kun nanun ron ditano nanun ko so sitano dame olom court adun tata court le ko loya alandi nyanyame nyata tala wolto kata man fam mahana kunna vino kadun man ngam fo ni ajube nga court nga nyin karo men kijeto ma fa ko de ko ya dikla ka fo sen double winter to ko ya dikla ka fo adama baro la election o amman kadi anil wa man ta nyola election o ya tinya ya boyde ba election o ko tenke so manke ka fo ko winter yama so mitala ko bari ko ke kato fayo nya manta silola so a nyantale ay janjang na janjanta ba election e ka kotake so amanga ka ko ngambulo lanyo kana do manta na wata jo nyanta ba la dame manta jo kata wata ni ka ba je ngole ke yes yem mem fo yem mem fo lun soto kale mfundi tang na denk lolu denk alka denk lo mella walu lam fana ngala yes ya long khadama din ni bal fayale kana ke konke ba katinyaro le ke ko ding le bulano fadi ko balobe kande nyama wato nin ko ko do ad nin ka do bole kala fonni ke jamale liwa kasar la je bi wato wandel UDP kon nin sida nsi solo sadden sa kumbo wato wate nin sida yaya sise ye membun talindi sala ko kumbo fon laftal ko ten ka bang a continue ka mo mo nyon kasabi nyola kela sa ya kumbo and ma miracle nyanta Gambia din killing ya marla ka foko ta yenyim manya ke mensi ke banko molie nim sakuti ay kem fay min nim sakuti mo mira nyanta so wala yatina fondin ke onyonu pour que ejiso sumayani ke dani kaf ko sa in fact kilimbi je to nganyat lo la ngachori ka ko tembe serinte ite laftale te yamu soso fandi ko lo ka ko ite laftale mu soso yeddi mbayal soto banni fankata ten ye bon ite futula ite ko la sotla isa ko karu wonda do atende sa to fatana ma lidinto ma mira nyanta as a leader men believe in democracy no ko si falna afrique wala yatinna man son mo fundi ni men ka fulan ka fa ko alga bulan luwama e kanyi men ko ni ganyo men fo namira lokun kilin koma ni kemi sembi jantole ani LR alpha don be ye men fonye about their own constituency ko Supreme Court ko ite kito kala ban telbe kito kala le e ko be kito kala nyaade ko be kito kala kaaje ko ila constituency ni ganyo e kejoto la dipto e ganye sa wolom kitiyoti be constituency wal be nyanda men kala kaaje ko every constituency UDP mo lon di jeto ye ganye jeto keloni ko be men kala in the street al ngata ngake in the ballot box na kato ta ngadi na dipto na deputy National Assembly control media UDP ay National Assembly ay ke banko wala ko di ni ala ka ko nyata men 2001 yes na fanko nga mansona take part in elections adam kule di bi ngamen nim sa bagen nena mandi sonta on nena manke part of edition of the executive men yen nimsa ko si kad kon sita le sangi lulu UDP activities nyolo in the constituencies nyolo amanta nyama sanjilulu amanta nyama adon koyenna konye aya sign the comedy Cardwell election 2001 2002 National Assembly election ninta da jeto no yaba mesiranje male villa no but no withdrawal nyen aya kendi victor banko kan Victor National Assembly, Namiran Tatala for a little while doron, Nada Deputy Kiliso the National Assembly, Kabri Baba Job, Kabra the problem kono, by election Katajeto, Kemesan contest. Then we are a deputy, Namiran a deputy of no, in the National Assembly Jeton. But a monkey decision may along Kavoko, in UDP and Koila Kake. Kava ko ha nyakata fa otata nyame ni dol fana la nyando fana mitawo nyale amana fa sala no nin kombo kala de correct la muso bota na wulli in fact wulli muso dolom as part of a delegation mus waromula from 7 constituencies in URR inata jantu wulli la delegation nyaton ko konyoko nammem foy kabrina to wulli ko ibe mo lon lale hanata be kara kesa worda mane sotla ay lo ay kara kesa woro ni soto kadi ko saja kavo ko wala mo telefona nyati jeto ko don te mo lo ko ma kavo ko de mo lon ladulato hanata kavo ko be kata sawada na sotla jeto at least ma don kavo ko nyendula nyambanko kande nyibla karto na dudla sotle na kacha nyon sotle jetole. So wale ati na this year menkata 2020 no no 2002 ngan ay nimsa pakele adu mamira be kala ko denke 2011 akatale barwo all the parties ne lefana agreed kavoko abe kala all the parties DOI, PPP, UDP, GMC, not even all the parties. Mele along Kavako, they were the Funko, the parties Mele along Kavako, we are advocating for electoral reforms. The GOVA, wale afeke. But we don't mantra sort of adate sort nola. So we are going to contest all the elections, all the seats. The son of Kuyo Ken Nakotenke, Mele along Kavaka, it was because of more boy called Kawaliadna, Kiharikia West, ye APRC, ye National Assembly members of the Jedo. What are Candy? Bakao, APRC, ye National Assembly members of the Jedo. So we are not going to go into that type of situation. May I don't have party on your back, we can let it.
We'll take 2 more questions and we take some rest.
There's a lady there. There's a lady there.
Sagabo, the opinion calendar. Na kalamdo paramilitary na ranujam ye gas fayikam. O problemo ni kadra keda monte moya kodo ansai. Anu patio do so de le menyalo pada ku bale so do ko ni kono. Na de tumo ni bango do fitira dron le polo ka fiti ka sem ko jaay kam. UDP la sem do ko si Fatou.
O sila fula le bala iskamena kelen ye fonti atam bedo kam yawa the protest have contact accept la fula eta luwala silo la eta court and wasilo fonga yama no sotala ka man la fnata court fana ma fail la ta mitala court da hanni be fail ay ko nyi nyom men kete ten yalo mota fula ka ko man kese samba court but the law court ya fona ko man kese na court. So we seek advice na ya suru ya fonye the menkela that lady.
Greetings to you all. My name is Bintu Singate from Gambian Currents TV. The question I want to ask Mr. Dabo is, was he invited to attend the President Barrow's January 19 inauguration? And if so, why didn't he attend? And then my second question is, we saw Mr. Dabo, Asa Baifal, and also Mama Kande, they joined and released a statement that they rejected the election. And later on, we saw that Asa Fal, he withdrew, and also he congratulated the president. Did he reach out to Mr. Dabo to ask him about his decision, and also how Mr. Dabo feels about it? And also my third question is, what is his current relationship with Mama Kane?
I'll take your questions in reverse order. My relationship with Mama Kande is very cordial. We have never been treating each other at arm's length. We consult, we share information, so our relationship is good. Now, when you talked about whether I contacted Mr. Dan, probably mean whether I contacted Mr. Fatou. I guess that's your question. Well,
Mr. Fatou had contacted.
Yeah. Well, certainly, when Mr. Fatou thought it fit to dissociate himself with the statement, he called me and told me that he was going to have a press briefing and to inform the press that he was no longer part of the decision that was taken on that day, and I really accepted and respected his decision. And the background to it is that certainly we were having meeting UDP, Gambia for All, and Marisol, Madam Marisol. I'm sorry, Marisol, please, you will forgive me. I continue to say Marisol without saying Mrs. Marisol, please forgive me for that. I'm going to campaign because we are so party that, I'm the first name that, So, Mama Kande came in, and Esafal also came in, and certainly I wasn't aware that Esafal was coming. I had no previous information that he was coming, and I did not really also ask that he comes to that meeting. I asked GFA and Madam Subdivide because they endorsed my candidature, and I thought that out of respect, out of courtesy, whatever we are doing, I should really have them invited to be part of that meeting. And I guess a first draft was done by our senior administrative secretary. Our senior administrative secretary did the first draft, and I think the most important part of that draft was that we have grave reservations about the results. That was the draft that we had, and of course, Mr. Fall suggested that that was too weak a word. We should say we reject the results. To say that we have grave reservations is not enough. We should say that we reject the results in total. And one of the persons at the meeting said, well, I think it has, before rejection, since we make a reservation, do our investigations, and when we have reason, then we can come out and say we reject the results. But then, we finally agreed that the word rejected should be inserted and the word grave reservation should be deleted. And when he decided that he would, we respected his opinion, and that we had no problems with it at all. And he gave his reasons for really not wanting to be part of it. The other issue is whether I was invited. Well, I wasn't invited, and up to 11:30 p.m. of the eve of the inauguration, I was in my sitting room watching television, and I came out before I went to bed to ask my guards whether anybody had brought any invitation or any letter, and they told me no, there was none. And in the morning, also, by 9 o'clock, I went out and asked if any letter had been dropped for me. I was told no. Well, so I wasn't invited. Maybe I was being regarded as a contestant, that I was one who opposed President Adama Barrow. Maybe that's why they did not invite me. But I thought that as a former vice president, forget about the fact that I contested elections with President Adama Barrow and all. Forget about that. But I am former vice president, and I would have thought that as a former vice president, I would be invited in that capacity. But again, that was not done. So I couldn't, I didn't attend because I was not treated as a former vice president, and I was also not treated as a contestant. Maybe if I had congratulated President Adam Abaro, maybe I would have been invited. But that's the issue. So let it be known. Even during Ajamen's official functions, I always attended. I never shied away from attending official functions. It is party functions that I refuse to attend. The Ajamen's and July 22nd events I refuse to attend. But when it comes to matters of the Gambia, independence and so forth, I always attended, unless I'm not invited. So that answers your question.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I think that was the last question, and we want to thank you very much for coming and for coming in your numbers. Like the party leader has said, this is going to be a series. You will be notified in good time. Ngeen mën a ñëw bokk ci waxtaan bi lii waxtaan la rek laajte yi ñu fi laajte gis nañ ne yëpp ci soose la ak angale waaye dañoo bëgg a bamtuwaat rek ne waxtaan moo xew suñ diggante ñun ay doomi réew ñu ngi gërëm taskati xibaar yi parce que ñun ñëpp lañ invite waaye gis nañ ne am na ñoo xam ne ñu ñëw suñ leen invité GRTS si boppam invite nañ ko ñëwuñ dafa am solo rek pour suñu wax affaire yi réew mi ñu wax ko ci dal ak ci taranga ak ci yar dafa am solo rek pour su fekkee ne réeroo nañ ñu waxtaan suñu waxtaanee dinañ jubóo so ci turi parti leader bi ak ci turi national executive bi maa ngi leen ak gërëm di leen sant seen teewaay ak seen liggéey réew parce que liggéey réew bi ñun ñëpp a ko bokka amul xaj ak seen ñun ñëpp a ci am ku nekk da ngaa béy sa waar def li nga mun maa ngi leen a sant di leen gërëm jërëjëf thank you very much for coming and have a good day. Thank you.